Hey everyone, it's Kary Oberbrunner. I have with me the first official guest of this entire new podcast. So I have Eve. Eve, say your last name. I want to get it exactly right.
Welner. It's a little
Wellner.
odd.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. I thought it was Wellner. And listen, you are what year are you at Cedarville?
I'll be a sophomore this year.
Okay, awesome.
hmm
So sophomore, and how old is that?
Well, I'll be 19.
Okay,
I am 19. I'm sorry. I just
you
turned
are
19, so I'm
19.
getting used to it.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I got
Yeah.
three kids. They all have summer birthdays. So
Mhm.
so you and I met last semester,
Yeah.
and I don't even know. We're gonna talk about that. But you are a 19-year-old entrepreneur. You were 18
hmm
just a little while ago. You started this business. In fact, this past summer, you and I hopped on the phone. I think was it May or June?
I believe it was May. It was pretty
Okay.
early on.
Is it? Okay.
hmm
So you reached out and said, "Hey, should I start an LLC?" We're going
hmm
to talk about some of those things, but first of all, you have this thing called Eve's Original Sin Cookie. What in the world? Where did that name come from? Let's unpack this.
Okay, so I really I wanted to include my name in it
Yeah.
in my business name. And my family was just like playing around with what would be a fun name, kind of fun,
Yeah.
not super serious name. Um, and my mom just threw out, well, what if you do like Eve's Original Sin? Like the cookie is so decadent that
Yeah.
it feels like a sin to eat it. And so
That's
then
awesome.
I kind of went with that. So,
That is awesome. Okay. Well, and you've been incredibly bold. You've taken action. These are
mhm,
characteristics, first of all, that is very important for entrepreneurship. In fact,
mhm,
that's what this whole podcast is about. One thing that I appreciate about you is that this summer, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
mhm,
you kind of said, yeah, I have this passion about Eve's Original Sin Cookie, but I also need to fund my life. And so you correct me
mhm,
if I'm wrong, but you kind of did a job and a side
mhm.
hustle. Is
Yeah,
this true?
it was kind of tough. I mean, I have to say I was not around my family a whole lot this summer, which was hard for me because I mean, going to college, I'm not around them anyways, and so
Yeah.
summer was really my time to spend time with them. But they understood that has been a long time goal of mine and it's really important to me, and they're very supportive of whatever I want to do. And so I worked really hard this summer working at a job for about I usually worked like 30 hours a week, and then I did my cookies on the side, and I was usually up till midnight some nights making cookies for the next day.
Wow.
So,
Let's talk about that.
mhm.
Where did you sell these cookies this summer?
So it started by word of mouth. So my first customer was actually my Spanish teacher
Yeah.
from high school, and everybody in high school knew that I wanted to start a business. And in fact, I did do a little bit of sales, just like kind of playing around with the idea in high
Yeah.
school. So everybody knew. And then once I got on Instagram, my I, my high school teacher just found out about it. And so she reached out to me and was like, listen, my birthday's coming up. I want to order 12 of your large cookies. And I was so excited. And then from there, it just kind of grew. She kind of told other people about it. I started getting business cards and putting them elsewhere. I got on Facebook, and people started looking into me a little bit. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
let's unpack this because this is huge. And there'll be people listening that are students,
Mhm.
faculty, alumni, my own tribe. There'll be lots of people. So you basically didn't do paid ads. You had an idea. You found one customer. Let's talk about that because I always tell
Mhm.
people that once you make your first sale, you have this mental shift. What was the mental shift that happened inside you when you made your first sale?
Well, I have to say, before the sale, I was getting extremely discouraged because it took a while. It took
Yeah.
a while for me to get that sale. It took a lot of hard work. to get my name out there and talking to people, which sometimes I get nervous about. And once I remember when they were driving up, I was really nervous because I thought I was just going to butcher what I was all about and everything like that. But it ended up being a super positive experience because she was supportive of me, which is great. And then after she left my house from picking up the cookies, I like jumped up and down from joy because it was my first sale, you know, like I had done it. That's the first step. And from there, it just kind of grew. It was so exciting. My whole family's excited too.
That is awesome. In fact, I saw your dad post on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And this is so cool. So I'm with you. So it sounds like you have the talent. You have, I'm going to call it the competence of making cookies, but you lacked the confidence until you made that first sale. So I'm with you. I actually did a study on entrepreneurs, and they say that entrepreneurs who do a side hustle first, instead of going all in, are actually more successful because they have to. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Why do you think? Why do you think? And it's not, don't worry, you can just take a shot. But why do you think? Yeah.
For me, I think that I just didn't know a whole lot. Like, I don't know anything about business. And that's why I'm a business major now. I want to learn. But I think for a lot of people, it's just easier mentally, and it's more positive to know that this isn't all that I'm doing right now. Like, if I fail at this, it's not everything going down.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So basically, you've kind of spread the risk, and you've said, hey, I have a job that pays me money, but I have this other thing that I'm working on the side.
Exactly.
That makes sense. So I think also another reason why is that you had to learn. In fact, you said it when you just told the story, but you had to learn discipline, hustle, perseverance, dedication. If you just said, hey, I'm just going to bake cookies all summer and I can fall back with my parents, you might not have had the pressure to take what limited time you had and force it into your hustle. So this is cool. How did we even connect? Because I want to hear this. I taught an adjunct class in January on marketing, and then you all of a sudden show up in my office or something. You reached out or something. What happened?
Yeah, so I had heard all about you from like, I think it was January, because everyone was talking about the new chair for entrepreneurship, and they had been looking for a long time for someone.
Right.
I was really excited because I've been an advocate for Cedarville's entrepreneurship since I learned about it. And I've been really excited, okay?
Yes.
And so once I heard it was you, I heard from my other friends. I think it was, do you know Albin?
Yeah, I've heard of Albin. Yeah.
So Albin was having a meeting with Dr. Haymond at lunch or something, and you walked. And so he had this super positive experience with talking with you, and he was so excited. And he told me and a couple other people about it, and then I got excited about it. And then I think it was kind of like a launch of the entrepreneurship program. You made a speech.
Class. That's right. Yeah.
I think it was exam week. And so I went to that, and I was just, honestly, prior to that meeting, I had almost completely given up on my business. Like, I was at my lowest point ever. I was ready to give up. And then your speech made me feel inspired that I can do it. I just need help, and I need to just hustle, like you said.
Yeah.
And so then I reached out to you on LinkedIn, I think it was, and we set up a meeting, and from there it just kind of took off.
Yeah, that's right. So I think I was impressed with your LinkedIn. You might have even had at that time Eve's Original Sin cookie.
Yes.
So that's an important tip. This podcast is going to be really practical to people. And I I want to tell people that their LinkedIn line that they get to choose is one of the key things,
Mm-hmm.
because with that LinkedIn line, you could have said Cedarville student. I could say best-selling author, but instead I actually change my description in LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
to outward focused.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You said Eve's
Mm-hmm.
Original Sin Cookie, and all of a sudden people are like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
interesting. So I was already impressed that you had put your LinkedIn, you know, description.
Mm-hmm.
But then you started on so we met. Then I tell you then to start an Instagram for your
I
business?
think you did. I think you told me to get out on social media so that I could talk to people about it and just
Yeah.
get my name out there.
Yeah.
And I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and let's go deep here if you're cool with it here. Hang on
Mm-hmm.
1 second. So this is big stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
you did it on your Instagram, so I don't think it's confidential.
Oh
But
no.
you talked about a past struggle that you
Yeah.
had. And I think that this is actually really good marketing. It's what it's called is your origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Every entrepreneurship, every business has a story. And you started to weave in your story pretty early on. What is that story?
Mm-hmm. So when I was about a sophomore in high school, I started really restricting what I ate, and it was I I started getting I had anorexia nervosa.
Yeah.
It was a horrible time in my life. I was the farthest away from God I'd ever been. I was really distant from my family, and I was just in my own little bubble.
Struggle.
It was such a struggle for me, and I was so unhappy. I was sick. I was really unwell,
Wow.
and I I don't. It was like almost in an instant. I was prior to the business. I was having also some struggles with what I wanted to do with my life. As every sophomore. I mean, most sophomores don't know,
Yeah.
and I had wanted to go the medical route for a long time, but I just could see that that wasn't a good fit for me. And so it was like I just had a thought. I was like, why don't I just start a business? I mean, I have those tendencies that business owners have. Why not own a business? And so then I started just playing around with business ideas, and I knew that I loved to bake. At that point, it was not really baking for myself, it was baking for other people, because if you look into it, people with anorexia tend to bake a lot, they'll cook a lot, but it's not for themselves. They'll never eat a bite of it. It's for other people.
Wow.
And so I still baked, but then from that point on, I kind of switched my mindset, and I was like, no, I'm going to get to enjoy the food that I make. I'm going to get to enjoy the stuff that I bake. And from that point on, I just kind of realized I want to create a baking business. And then I came up with the idea of customization. There's Cold Stone, and they create ice cream, and you can pretty much put whatever you want in ice cream.
Yeah.
And
What do you call it? You taught me something. Is it called mix-ins or something?
yeah, mix-ins. So I created a business where I have cookies. I have a base cookie dough, and then you put whatever mix-ins you want. And so that added that element of creativity, which made it interesting for me to try to eat the food. And yeah, so that's how I came to it.
That is amazing. So
Mhm.
God almost used this business idea and entrepreneurship to heal you
Mhm.
emotionally, physically, spiritually. Is that the craziest story I've ever heard? That
It,
is amazing.
it was crazy. I didn't expect it to have that much impact in my life. I've always viewed a job like it's just a job. You go to the job, then you come back home, and it's just you get to relax. But creating a business has created a whole new mindset for me, because it almost like brings relaxation and work together for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. This is amazing. Okay. So this happens in May. You and I, so you're at your lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm honored. I never heard that before, that I inspired you to keep
You did.
rolling in
Yes.
May. That's awesome. I'll have to share that with Dr. Heyman, because that was that was kind of a fluke where he said, just come in, so
Mm-hmm.
we hired you, even though you're not hired till July 1, just come in and share a vision. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't even remember what I fully said, but I am very excited about students and entrepreneurship. So the
Mm-hmm.
two go together. So then you start Instagram, you start getting some following, you start posting content. You even had votes. I remember this summer, you would say, do you want the bigger version or this? Talk to us about, because that's even a strategy for
Yeah.
people. You didn't
So
just tell people, you gave them a survey.
yeah, I did that on LinkedIn too. Um, I I've always figured that the people know what they want. Like sure, I might know what I want, but the customers are the main people to
Yeah.
look to. I mean, they're the buyers. So I wanted to see if they would even buy that or if they'd be interested in that. Because I thought it was a good idea, but you never know what somebody else is going to think.
Yeah.
And so I put that out there. And I'm glad I tried it because I don't make the minis anymore because it just wasn't profitable enough for me. And it was very time consuming. So I have to make an announcement about that on Instagram. But I just discontinued doing the mini cookies. But
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I reached out to people because now I know that they were interested in that. And I tried it, but it didn't work out. So
Besides, you can't have a mini sin. You have to go.
exactly. Go all out.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. So this is cool. And then you came to me, I think, and said, so first of all, folks, you got to catch that marketing tip that Eve just shared. She said that the customer knows what they want, give them a survey. So I say that that's teachability. You didn't say, look, the customers, they're jacked up. What's their problem? So you, first of all, were teachable. Second of all, when people take a vote, you draw them in. This is
Because it's interactive.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's a conversation rather than here's just what we offer. Here's a dial, here's a sermon, just accept it or not. It's a two-way street, the survey. Plus it gives them ownership. They feel like, ooh, I might influence
Exactly.
the business. Okay, then you reach out and you say, hey, should I do an LLC? Do you remember why I said you should consider that?
I believe it was because if I were to get sued,
Yeah.
hopefully not.
Well, let's say you make a bad cookie and it's
Yes.
toxic.
Yeah, like let's say some, I don't know, nail
Right.
polish got in the cookie, something random, but
Right.
something got in there and it hurt somebody or poisoned them, then
Yeah.
I would be sued if I didn't have an LLC. And they could sue me for every asset that I possibly had. But if I had an LLC, they would sue the LLC and not me as a person.
Yeah.
And then they would just
Look at you. You learned the lesson.
I did. I'm really happy I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we hopped on Zoom and went to the Ohio Secretary of State and did all that little work there, as you walked away from that experience, now, who knows? I think you even got a certificate. What did that do for your confidence?
Oh, I think I made a post. I think that was one of my very first posts on Instagram. It was me just being overjoyed that I was official. Because up until that point, yeah, I had sold some cookies. I think I even sold some, the career services office on Cedarville campus. They wanted cookies for a Christmas party, and I made them for them. But I wasn't an official business, and I think it felt like that. I didn't feel set in stone.
Yeah.
And that it really helped a lot.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, and then we even chatted about some of the deductions as a business owner. We talked about your oven, your transportation.
Yeah.
So you can start actually leveraging that to save
Yes.
money.
I actually just I keep a spreadsheet of everything that I buy and everything that I get in sales wise.
Right.
Which I think is what you suggested, and it's helped a lot. But I did just buy my first rapid cook oven, and that is the end. The end goal is to have a storefront, and have ovens where the cookies can be cooked on the spot in 2 to 3 minutes. Uh, so I just purchased that, and that was a huge. I mean, it was kind of scary in a way, but it was very exciting. And now that'll be, I'll get money back from that when tax time comes. So
nice. That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we want to have you at Cedarville do an event. So I know I've planted the seed with you, but think about that, because
I would love to.
This podcast episode is going to go out. I think it's going to encourage people too, because what you did is your origin story. You took something that was deeply struggle. I say all the time to entrepreneurs, they say the area of your biggest wound is often the area of your biggest contribution. And so you did. I mean, you took something like anorexia, where you struggle with food, and that's like the biggest tension in your life, and it becomes an obsession, and then you turned it into a way to serve people. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So do you have a website yet?
No. Okay. So it's so funny you mentioned that, because yesterday I've been looking into website creation, because I do think it would be, I mean, it's
another step.
It's crucial for me to have that. And so I'm looking in different pathways, but there is like there's lots of website creators out there where you create the website. So I think I'm going to go for that. And maybe just do like a demo, see how it looks, and see if I want to pay for it. But then
you're looking at like Wix or something?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Exactly. So we'll see. I'm going to just, test things out. Maybe need a couple of my computer friends to help me. But
no, this can totally happen. I'm going to say that it's going to happen in August. It's going to happen in August.
Yes.
That's what I think. So,
So,
and I'll tell you what, let's just, we'll give people the domain name of your website in the show notes.
Okay.
So when this thing goes live, they can have it in their brain. Okay.
Sounds good.
So last minute, what would you tell someone who is either a student or an adult, but they are thinking, do I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? What would you tell them?
I would say find your support. For me, it was my my friends at Cedarville, my professors, and my parents. But I would say, as an entrepreneur, it's a hard line of work, but it's really worth it. But you need someone to support you and encourage you on. Because when I was really struggling and not knowing if I wanted to go forward with the business, I had people in my life that were encouraging me and were bringing me down. So I would say that is my biggest piece of advice.
That's awesome. Well, folks, thanks for listening. And if you loved the podcast, I certainly did today. Wow. Give it a rating and review. That helps people find it. And Eve Welhener, you are amazing. And we are going to watch you soar. And who knows, you might have stores everywhere someday.
Fingers crossed.
Awesome. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.